Hey guys, I just want to thank you for tuning on to this video. I just want to ask you to subscribe and please press that like button, and share the video. Pressing the like button is actually very important because it allows us like-minded people to connect to the same videos, and that's what I'm looking for on this channel. Is just trying to find like-minded people so we can come together and create something. This video I'm titling The Greatest Pan-Africanist Story Never Told. A couple of days ago, I was on Nakmizi's channel, and there was, African American talk, because that's Nakmizi stuff. And I chimed in my 2 cents. Most of the time, him and I disagree on things, but that's okay. At the end of the day, that's what this world is about. We gotta agree to disagree, period. But then it became funny at the end of the speech, and I think Nakmiz now is just gonna focus on African Americans, and I think that's great. Do what you wanna do, and as long as it makes you happy, and that's okay. But after that, I had this weird feeling, man, and usually a lot of things don't just bounce off me, But after I left that, I had this feeling of like, what, maybe we're doing this stuff the wrong way. Maybe there's just no hope of black people uniting. And when I mean uniting, for me, if you listen to my videos, if you've been my subscriber for some time, I'm not an advocate of all African Americans, pack your bags up and move to Africa. And it's not, for me, it's not about that. I always say this: African Americans, America is part of you and you're part of America, period. But just like everyone else, just like every ethnicity, every race or whatever, a group in that country has somewhere where they are connected. Doesn't matter. It could be Irish Americans. It could be English Americans. They go back. And on a large scale, from when we go back to the JP Morgans and all these people, they used to use money from Europe to invest in America and make huge profits, and then send those profits to Europe. And vice versa. So they helped each other. When in 1945, when before the Second World War started, after the First World War, a German was such in bad shape, and the Treaty of Versailles, it put them on Versailles, depending on how you pronounce it. It blamed German for everything. So they punished them. They had to pay all the German companies that were operating in German, had to pay all this money to all these other countries, Belgium, and all of them that were attacked. And there was even in the treaty where if the companies didn't pay, other countries could go in and take over those companies. So that brought these sentiments and put people like Hitler on the rise until America showed up. America pumped in a lot of money into German companies. They invested heavily. And sort of people forgot about all the dramas of this Treaty of Versailles, and but then when America collapsed during the Great Depression, they had to take the money back, and when they took the money back, things went bad again, and again that gave rise to Hitler. Not that Americans minded, not that Americans cared about the Jews in Germany or something like that. But these are stories for other days. That's not the aim of this video. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say here is we can link economically as a people. And it's because I don't understand why people are happy to go and buy shea butter from a Chinese store when they can just go to Africa and buy it raw and sell it to African Americans and create and improve economies in both countries and create employment in both countries. I don't understand why that's so hard. America is like the biggest market. With black people, without black people, it's the biggest market in the world. Africa has not just raw materials, but also labor. So if you're a business person, that's an opportunity right there. You know, people like bling bling in America. Africa has gold, diamonds, and all that stuff. What's stopping us from coming together and connect these economies? But a lot of people don't see it that way. We wanna just be on each other's throat. But what is it that has happened in the last 20, 30 years that I can use to show that when we come together, we can create something great? I introduce you to a man called Strive Masiwa. Strive Masiwa is one of the billionaires in Africa. He's worth about $2 or $3 billion. Okay? He's from Zimbabwe. So, as most Africans, this is back in, let's say, 30 years ago. He went to study in Europe, graduated in electrical engineering, packed up everything, and went back to Zimbabwe. And back then, if you were educated, there was employment. He got a job straight away. But during that time, he started creating businesses. You know, started getting government tenders, and he was doing quite well. But then he heard of this telecom business from outside Africa, and he thought, we can get into this business. I want you to pay attention to this story, and please listen, okay? Oh, he starts to look into this telecom thing, all right? Eventually, he decided he's going to open up a company called, cut the story short, econet. And back then, most companies, not just in Africa, but around the world, most telecom companies were government owned. This is around the world. Okay? Things were not as easy today where, you know, a company like SpaceX is maybe even sending more stuff up in our galaxies more than even NASA these days. You know, like the private enterprises has got more money than government enterprises. It wasn't like that back then. So when this man said he was going to open up a telecom company, privately owned, that didn't sit very well with the president at that time, was Robert Mugabe. So he wanted to crush him. You know, just like it wasn't sitting well with other countries. This is not because of Mugabe, like whatever feelings you have about Mugabe, this was just a normal reaction. That was the same all over the world, because they thought once you open up a telecom company, that's like it's a threat to the country. You know, you can be communicating with invaders or some stuff like that. You know, so but he saw an opportunity to create employment for his people. Okay, all right. So he gets to a point where Mugabe wanted to crush him. All the government tenders was trying to get dried up. You know, he literally got crushed. And then he realized, but he was, a lot of things happened. I'm just trying to cut the story short, but he was determined. So he looked up and he found out there was a branch of the World Bank that was dealing with African, up to now it's there, with developments in Africa. So he writes a letter to this branch of the World Bank, okay? And the person, one of the people that read the letter, and this is what I'm saying, this is the greatest Pan-African story never told. The person that was working in the World Bank that received this letter was an African, was a Guyana, not Ghana, but Guyana, which is somewhere I think in the I think just outside Latin America. It was an African from Guyana, or was a black person from Guyana, who was working for the World Bank in New York. Okay, so he read the letter. He thought, okay, this guy wrote his letter with so much detail that everyone who read his letter was impressed. This is what I'm saying, guys. Put in the work. In whatever you, doesn't matter what job you do, doesn't matter what you do, put in the work. Okay? Now, this is a black person, so he rings him up. Strive wasn't even expecting any help. He rings him up. It's like, okay, we're going to send someone there to come and look at your books. All right. So they sent this man who went there, did all the investigation, looked at his books. Everything was great. And they gave him a loan worth $250,000. That helped him to start organizing more and more. But when they were just about to launch econet, they lost the case in the Supreme Court. Okay? So it was dead. It was in the papers in Zimbabwe. Oh, econet, whatever, dead. Okay? But after a little bit of investigation, they realized they could take the case. Because remember, this is now they are going against the government. They said they could take the case to the Constitution Court. And they start looking for lawyers who could represent them. They found a lawyer in America who was African American, who was specialized in constitutional law. And she said, I'm coming. I'll come and be on your team. So he put a team together. Now, look at the people that are involved in this case. One, black from Guyana. Second, a lawyer among other lawyers. It wasn't just one person, African American. So they come together, they write up stuff, they get all the info, they take to the Constitutional Court, and guess what? They won the case. And econet was born. And since then, it's been booming and booming and booming. Right? econet today is the biggest taxpayer to the government. And this is one thing Strive Masiwa says. Pay your taxes. There is no way we're going to go forward when we're doing business on the continent and we're not paying taxes. Let's pay our taxes. Once we are paying taxes, then we can be forcing the government, because that's our money, to do better. Okay? Now, Strive Masiwa, because of that, he was receiving threats in Zimbabwe. He moved out of Zimbabwe. So he lived in South Africa, and eventually he moved to England. Now, there's a lot of African Americans that like to say, oh, why are you not in Africa? Why are you away and then talking about Africa? Strive Masiwa has been living outside of Zimbabwe for the past 20 years. Okay? He goes to Africa because he's got businesses. I'm going to get to that. He goes to Africa, but I want to answer that point. The companies that manufacture, telecom products, the companies that the new trend and everything that's happening in the telecom are in the UK, are in Europe. Okay? That's why the Siemens, all these companies that are specialized in all these technological stuff, most of them are actually in Europe. So him based in Europe is able to catch on to things like the latest technology, which now he takes and puts on the continent. So he's trying to be strategic with this movement. So people that like to say, oh, why are you not in Africa? It's no. A lot of Africans move out of Africa. Some here, they're running from famine, and I'm not saying that, but that's not the full story. Some people are running from wars. That's not the full story either. Others are just looking for greener pastures to gather something, and usually they go back. And others are moving there to expand their business. Or I can go to America and work as a doctor and get paid maybe $500,000. Okay, that's capital. You know what? Then I'm going to take that money and I'm going to invest all of it in Africa, in real estate, in this, all sorts of things. The guy who's building some of the biggest projects in Ghana is based in the UK. But he's working in Ghana. So for those Africans in the diaspora, for those African Americans who like to come up with this, think twice, guys. Think twice. There's people who left America to come to Australia, and today, the telecom company, the biggest telecom company in Australia is owned by Americans. So everyone, if you go to South Africa, most of the companies in South Africa are owned by white Americans. They left America to go and invest. So this notion that you only have to sit in Africa to do whatever you want to do, no, that's not right. You can move around. People should be free to move around, okay, and still do something on the African continent that's impactful. Okay? Now, so two groups of people, an African American, someone from Guyana. Someone might say, okay, so they came together and achieved this thing 20-something years ago. But what is happening right now? First of all, from this success, a black man, an African man, is now a billionaire. Okay? And the thing about Strive Masiwa, it deliberately avoids businesses like mining. because that's quite popular in Africa. You can do that. There's minerals everywhere. The reason why he avoids that is to show Africans that we don't even need minerals. You know, he's one of the few African billionaires, black African billionaires, who uses the stock market and encourages people to invest in his companies. What effect has it? What outcome 20 years later do we still have? Do we have? He's managed to dig up fiber optics, lay them down from Cape Town to Cairo in the past 20 years, and from Ethiopia to Nigeria. I think they reached Lagos, I think, a couple of years ago. You know, when he started this, actually, most people didn't believe him. So he said, and this is the dream. This is how we need to work. Some people don't think we can come together and create something. So maybe we need to give them small doses. That's what he was doing. When he told them, I want to put up fiber optics from Cape Town to Cairo, everyone goes, you can't achieve that. So what he used to tell them, he used to say, okay. So he changed his tactics. He started saying, okay, I just want it to be from Cape Town to Harare. And everyone would go, yeah. And then once they achieved that, and then he would say, I want it to be from Harare to Lusaka. You know, from Lusaka to Kigali, like that. And step by step, they were in Cairo. He achieved it. Because some people don't realize what we are capable of. And this is why we need maybe to start telling people in small doses dreams they can see. Some people don't dream that big. Okay? So now Africa has fiber optics with his company called Liquid Telecom. If you've been to Uganda, he has companies everywhere in Africa. Uganda, Burundi, Lesotho, you know, obviously Zimbabwe, Botswana. He has his company there as well. And he encourages people, he puts his company in the stock market and encourages people to invest in his companies. You know, now, it's not just on the African continent. He's been a member of most of HBCUs in America with these, black, like Morehouse College and all these. He's connected with them. And he's put up help there as well. You know, millions of dollars is investing in education to pay tuition fees for black students. But not only is he doing that, he's bringing African American students to come and work in Africa in his telecom companies. And believe it or not, most people don't want to go back. Once they come to Africa to work, they don't want to go back. Okay? This is all because of that coming together. This is what has been created. You know, right now he paid for almost a year or two for all the doctors in Zimbabwe. He paid for their tuition fees. All of them. For almost a year or two. Okay? So it's not just helping out people in Africa, it's helping out people in America. You know, and obviously in America, you're just not going to get ADOS. You're also going to get people from the Caribbean who are studying in America. He's helping out everyone. Just from a coming together of an African, a Caribbean, and African American come together, and they've helped set this company up. And today, we are reaping the benefits. When Ebola struck Africa, it was him who was at the forefront of raising money to help combat the disease. You know, it wasn't just funding from European countries. Africans came together and helped. Okay? This is what I want everyone to remember. When we come together, we can create big things. So, 3 groups of black people. You know, one from Africa, Strive Masiwa, one from Guyana, the other one from America. You know, they formed the group. There were other people involved. White Zimbabweans were also some of the people he had on his team. But when they won the case at the Supreme Court in Zimbabwe, allowing them to open up an independent telecom company, that sent shockwaves around the world. You know, Finland, most of the countries in Europe, people realize that they could establish an independent telecom company in their countries. You know, it started with Africans coming together, and the result had an impact globally. This is why I strongly believe that Pan-Africanism, where we join economically, you don't have to necessarily move to Africa, but those who want to move, and I know if we can pull this off, economic empowerment, develop corporations across the continent, then the standard of living, which depending on how you look at it, economically in Africa will improve. And if people want to move there, that's okay. Even now, there's people want to move there, let them move. People should be free to live wherever they want to live in this world. There's Africans living in Asia. There's a lot of African Americans living in the Middle East. Even Africans living in the Middle East. You know, some will go to Latin America. There's a lot of African Americans living in Latin America. You know, I just heard someone got killed there recently and stuff like that. You know, and they should be able to come to Africa too. You know, if you don't want to live in Africa, it doesn't mean everyone else should not live in Africa. It's just you. That's your decision. Okay? But this cooperation of Caribbean, American, and African led to one of the biggest events in world history. You've never heard of it because Africans and black people, we don't tell our story. It's the impact it had on the world was so great that Strive Masiwa was even able to open up a telecom company, which is still there in New Zealand with our Maori brothers and sisters. You know, in New Zealand, all the way from Zim, a young boy from Zim, or nobody from Zim, ends up opening up a telecom company in New Zealand just because of what happened in Africa. And that's what I mean. If we work together, we have a bigger impact on this planet. If we want to be in groups, in tribes, in all that crap, we're going to go nowhere. Okay? So, after I finished watching that live on Nakmizi's channel, like I said at the beginning of this video, I was feeling some kind of way, you know, about the whole process. But then it was like, you know, like, a sort of like an interference from above, in a way, you know, where I started watching. For some reason, I just had this African Tigress video pop up, so I started watching it, and she's in the Gambia, you know, and I see her traveling with THC, which is the Happy Companion, who is also African American. They're traveling together. The Happy Companion, actually, I started a tour company, Bigger Brother, eh? That's what I gotta say. Started a business, started a tour company, and he wants to expand that across the continent. What more can I say? That's what we have to do. Businesses. Because if we don't do it, someone else will. Okay? And I see African Tigress arriving at the back. You know, Black Acres of the Gambia. They're from there. And it's like they've known each other for years. Obviously, they talk to each other through YouTube and all that stuff, and, you know, messages and everything. But it was like they've known each other from America. And they were there happy, laughing. That actually brought me back to being myself. Also, I'm like, man, there's more good in us coming together, and there's more people who want to come together than those who don't. Just remember, there's more than 2 billion Africans on this continent, or black people on this continent. It's okay to have 10 million extremists. Every race has that. You know, white people have the KKK, white supremacists, blah, blah, blah. They have that. You know, and they have people that just, you know, there's population of the British that doesn't like other race, other Europeans. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, we should also allow room for that. They're gonna be Africans Americans, or Africans who are not gonna like other Africans. or other black people. And we should accept that and say, you know what? It's all good. Okay? Another great example, I wanted to make a separate video for this one, but I'm just going to add it on into here. There's a man called Bob Collymore. Bob Collymore was born again in Guyana, right? He moved to England, which is quite popular with Caribbeans there. Moved to England. He joined this company. He was just, one of the company employees, which was, I think they were specializing in telecom. And he got a job in South Africa. He's like, yeah, I moved to South Africa. And while he was in South Africa, he wasn't a CEO or anything big at this company. While he moved there, a job opened up in Kenya, working for this company called Safaricom. But then it was just like in its infancy, So they were like, he was the only black guy there at this company. So they said, if you want to take it, you can be a CEO. And he was more, obviously meant maybe in a joking way. And he thought, okay, why not? So he went and became the CEO of Safaricom. By the time he became the CEO of Safaricom, it wasn't as big as it is now. But there's something Bob Collymore did at Safaricom that made that become the biggest telecom company in Kenya. And one thing he did was, he remembered how he lived in Guyana, and he saw similar sort of things happening in Kenya, the slums, this and that. But he realized he knew something. He knew the secrets in the slums. Like people in there's people with money, and people need phones. But how we come up with programs, with packages that can help these people at the same time as give them, access to, obviously, telecom or telecommunication. So he'll get on the buses with them and talk to these people, and he'll go to the slums. Something only a black person, it doesn't matter where you are. There's one thing where you land in Africa, you feel like you belong. He wasn't scared of people in the slums. They look like him. He'll go there and chat to them, eat with them, and then you go home and do his homework. And he developed packages that suited those people, because those were the majority. Rather than coming up with packages that suit the rich, this man came up with packages that suit the hardworking people. And guess what? Safaricom became a big company. Now they are operating in Burundi, in Uganda, I think even in Tanzania. I think they're trying to go into Tanzania, or they're already in Tanzania. Safaricom. Why am I telling you this story? Sadly, Bob Collymore passed away. He had from cancer. He was only 60, very young. So he died. He passed away in 2019. Usually what happens with these big companies, these big corporations, when they open in Africa or any other country or any other place in Africa especially, usually the CEO is white or Indian. They hardly pick from Africans. Okay? So when this man died, the next CEO is going to be white. Right? But because of what Bob Collymore did, what he showed Kenyans without even going on online or on TV saying, I'm showing everybody that black people can do it. Nah, he never said that. He showed them by his deeds. The Kenyan government, and empowered the Kenyan government and the Kenyan people to say a black man can be a CEO of a multinational company. And he can run it successfully. And he can even run it better than anybody else. And guess what? When Safaricom was about to appoint a white person, the government of Kenya stepped in and said, you have to appoint one of us. What Bob Collymore did, he went to Africa, got a job, and he got paid for it. He didn't do that for free. He got paid for it. I think he was making something like $1 million a year. He was the CEO of a telecom company that's worth billions of dollars. Okay? He was getting paid something like $1 million. Easy. A year. But what he did, the influence he left in Kenya, in Africa, is to tell Africans, without uttering those words, to tell them that you can do it. This is your continent, you can do it. Okay? And this is what people don't realize, because some of these African Americans like to say, oh, you only go Africans only want us for our money. Look what we did with the year of return in Ghana. Well, 2017, Ghana made money without the year of return. The same amount of money they made in 2019, they made even more in 2017. Tourism across Africa is booming. This is not to say, we don't want African Americans to contribute nothing to Africa, but this is to say Africa does not need you. Just like you don't need Africa. You can make it in America, but what Africa does, it gives you an alternative. And what Africa, the benefits that Africa, what you can have on the continent is that you can remind African, you can have an impact in various ways, not just in terms of money. Because Africa will also give you money. Bob Collymore was getting paid more money in Kenya than he ever did in England, in South Africa, in Guyana. He made more money in Kenya. Africa can also pay you money. It can make you a CEO, where in parts of America, I know what happens there. Most black people are actually underpaid, and it's very hard to become a CEO of a company. If I look at the CEOs of the top 500 companies in America, there's more Indian CEOs than there is African Americans. Let's just be real here, okay? But Africa can give you that opportunity. It can give you an opportunity for you to do things you've always wanted to do. I'm not trying to come up with another story here, but I'm just reminding you guys. Okay? So these are some of the things we can achieve when we come together. Bob Collymore left a legacy, not just for the diaspora, but for black people. And he didn't do that for free though. He got paid. Africa paid him. But he had the biggest, not even about money, it's the impact he had. It's what he did to Africans. So, why did I want to make this video? Just to remind everybody that we are better together. We are better together. We achieve bigger things together. We will be harder to break together. Okay? So thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe and share this video. Thank you. Stay safe. Goodbye.